we're talking about video games again on the Bad Games Jules channel, but this is now Bad Business Decisions Jules, I guess. This Unity situation has been going on for several days, but I've been sick kind of this past week, and I wanted to see if more things came out of development from this. But I will read the original tweet, I'll read some replies, and give my thoughts on this entire situation. Alright, so on the 12th of September, Unity posted this. Today we announced a change to our business model, which includes new additions to our subscription plans and the introduction of a runtime fee. We wanted to provide clarifying answers to the top questions most of you are asking. Yes, this is a price increase and will only affect a small subset of current Unity Editor users. Today, a large majority of Unity Editor users are currently not paying anything and will not be affected by this change. The Unity runtime fee will not impact the majority of our developers. The developers who will be impacted are generally those who have successful games and are generating revenue way above the thresholds we outlined in our blog. This means the developers who are still building their business and growing the audience of their games will not pay a fee. The program was designed specifically this way to ensure developers could find success before the install fee takes effect. We want to be clear that the counter for Unity runtime fee install starts on January 1st, 2024. It is not retroactive or perpetual. We will charge once for a new install, not an ongoing perpetual license royalty like revenue share. We look for ways to lessen the impact on developers and provide ways to bring the runtime fee to zero. If you're using any of our ad products, Unity gaming services or cloud services, etc., please contact us to discuss discounts. We are actively listening and following your questions closely. Please review our FAQ on today's announcement. And this was not taken well at all. Best streamer of all time, Vinny Vinesauce, said greedy and stupid, and it's the top reply, which I definitely agree with. I'll read out this comment here because Unity replied, "What you haven't said here is anything about piracy where they can get the game without providing revenue during a viral moment. You also had no mention about how reinstalls do count towards the quota. Forget review bombing, you've literally invented install bombing. GG, well played. We do already have fraud protection services in our ads technology, which is solving a similar problem. So we will leverage that know-how as a starting point. We recognize that users will have concerns about this, and we'll make it available a process for them to submit their concerns to our fraud compliance team." That's such like a corporate reply. They're like, we'll figure it out. Just don't worry about it. We'll worry about it once it actually happens. Okay. And then this was a follow-up tweet that they made the next day on September 13th. "We want to acknowledge the confusion and frustration we heard after we announced our new runtime fee policy. We'd like to clarify some of your top questions and concerns. Who is impacted by this price increase? The price increase is very targeted. In fact, more than 90% of our customers will not be affected by this change. Customers who will be impacted are generally those who have found a substantial scale in downloads and revenue and have reached both our install and revenue thresholds. This means a low or no fee for creators who have not found scale success yet, and a modest one-time fee for those who have. Fee on new installs only. Once you meet the 2 installs and revenue thresholds, you only pay the runtime fee on new installs after January 1st, 2024. It's not perpetual. You only pay once for an install, not an ongoing perpetual license royalty like a revenue share model. How we define and count installs, assuming the install and revenue thresholds are met, we will only count new net installs on any device starting January 1st, 2024. Additionally, developers are not responsible for paying a runtime fee on reinstall charges. We are not going to charge a fee for reinstalls. Fraudulent install charges. We are not going to charge a fee for fraudulent installs. We will work directly with you on cases where fraud or botnets are suspected of malicious intent. Trials, partial play demos, and automation installs charges. We are not going to count these towards your install count. Early access games are not considered demos. Web and streaming games. We are not going to count web and streaming games towards your install count either. Charity-related installs. The pricing change in install count will not be applied for your charity bundles/initiatives. And they got hit with the community notes on this one. You know when Twitter has to come in with the community notes, you've messed up. Unity states that only 10% of their customers will be affected, making it sound less bad than it is. As of the Gaming Report 2022, Unity had 230,000 developers. That's around 23,000 developers affected by the change. Lots of studios have posted statements about moving engines. So this is from the official Unity forums. Question: how are you going to collect installs? We leverage our own proprietary data model. We believe it gains an accurate determination of the number of times the runtime is distributed for a given project. So this is an important one that they didn't say before. Do installs of the same game by the same user across multiple devices count as different installs? Yes, we treat different devices as different installs. If a game that's made enough money to be over the threshold has a demo of the same game, do installs of the demo also induce a charge? If it's an early access, beta, or a demo of the full game, then yes. If you can get from the demo to a full game, then yes. If it's not like a single level that can't upgrade, then no. When in the life cycle of a game does tracking of lifetime installs begin? Do beta versions count towards the threshold? If you can get from the demo to a full game, like via an in-game upgrade, then yes. If it's not, just like one level, then no. And then someone pointed out, a lot of people pointed out different games that are using Unity, but the most prominent are Genshin Impact and Pokemon Go. This tweet says Genshin Impact now owes Unity $27,900,000. Pokemon Go owes Unity $126 million. So it says Genshin Impact downloads. Genshin Impact has been downloaded 139.5 million times, and Pokemon Go has accumulated close to 630 million lifetime downloads. Someone in a YouTube comment said this, but it turns out Hoyo will have zero problems with this actually, because Hoyo has made and developed their own Genshin Impact engine that is based in Unity. While Genshin likely has a custom license and source code access, and thus run on a custom fork of Unity, it's still, however, Unity. They are well and truly affected by this, as it was essentially what this entire thing was written up to focus on. And Super Auto Pets pointed this out. We trusted you, Unity. We feel betrayed. Please explain how this is going to work for free-to-play games. Please explain why you broke your own promise and terms of service by changing them. Summary here, which links to a Reddit post from 4 days ago. Unity silently removed their GitHub repo to track license changes, then updated their license to remove the clause that lets you use the TOS from the version you shipped with, then insists games already shipped need to pay the new fees. After their previous controversy with license changes in 2019, after disagreements with Improbable, Unity updated their terms of service with the following statement. When you obtain a version of Unity and don't upgrade your project, we think you should be able to stick to that version of the TOS. As part of their commitment to being an open platform, they made a GitHub repository that tracks changes to the Unity terms to give developers full transparency about what changes are happening and when. Well, sometime around June last year, they silently deleted that GitHub repo. April 3rd this year, slightly before the release of 2022 LTS in June, they updated their terms of service and removed the clause that was added after the 2019 controversy. The clause was as follows. Unity may update these Unity software additional terms at any time for any reason and without notice. The updated terms and those updated terms will apply to the most recent current year version of the Unity software, provided that if the updated terms adversely impact your rights, you may elect to continue to use any current year versions of the Unity software. Example 2018.x and 2018.y and any long-term supported versions for that current year release. According to the terms that applied just prior to the updated terms, the prior terms, the updated terms will then not apply to your use of the current year versions unless and until you update to a subsequent year version of the Unity software. Example from 2019.4 and 2020.1. If material modifications are made to these terms, Unity will endeavor to notify you of the modification. This clause is completely missing in the new terms of service. This, along with Unity's claim that the fee applies to eligible games currently in the market that continue to distribute the runtime, flies in the face of their previous announcement of full transparency. They're now expecting people to trust their questionable metrics on user installs that are rife for abuse, but how can users trust them after going this far to burn all goodwill? They purposely removed the repo that shows license changes, removed the clause that means you could avoid future license changes, then change the license to add additional fees retroactively with no way to opt out. After this behavior, are we meant to trust that they won't increase the fees or add new fees in the future? So someone pointed out the Unity net income stats, and they're going into the hole quite a bit here. So Unity hasn't exactly been profitable over the past 5 years. The two aspects they could meaningfully cut to come into the black would be sales and marketing or research and development. Cutting either would also almost certainly result in longer term company destruction, given that both are the reasons people use Unity. No R&D means no features and likely no bug fixes. No sales and marketing means no showing off new features or otherwise advertising Unity. That said, their solution with install costs is not a good one either. Personally, I'm not sure what good options they have. Someone replied to it, okay, so they could double the price of Pro without charging their terms and increase the incentive to switch from personal to Pro. They could not claim they can retroactively apply new terms of service when the previous terms of service said they couldn't, only the current terms of service, and add a fee that isn't per install but per purchase. You can never exceed some fixed percentage of transactions from a given customer. There are a lot of ways they could have changed their monetization scheme without creating a completely unmitigatable risk for their users while claiming a nebulous and constantly changing fraud detection technology that does not and will not exist will make it all just work. There's absolutely no reason that anyone with 2 brain cells would think that trying to claim retroactively applying TOS that includes imposing cost per install rather than per user, per customer, per transaction, etc. is a good way to do this. My suspicion is that someone very high up without any connection to implementation details came up with this brilliant scheme and forced it through without being criticized at all, or ignored or silenced or any other ideas but this abomination. Unfortunately, that means it isn't one mistake but a company managerial culture problem, which means it probably requires a complete decapitation of senior leadership and huge reform to allow criticism of superiors to exist within the company. If this has all sorts of red flags to anyone with even the slightest legal or technical awareness, it probably wasn't created by or criticized by anyone with legal or technical background before becoming company policy. And a lot of devs that have been using Unity came out and said that they're going to change engines or this is going to affect their game because it's not a small amount. They said 10%, but that's still not a small amount of users. And this is affecting free-to-play games, so I don't know how they're going to make the revenue on that one. I guess every game is going to start charging microtransactions now. Cult of the Lamb posted that they were going to delete the game on January 1st to avoid all this. So a lot of people are not happy with this, and going through all the details myself, I don't know what Unity's going to do, and it seems like they don't know what they're going to do. They haven't responded since, and it's the 17th today, so either they're just going to keep forward with this course until either like Nintendo or Hoyoverse gets involved with lawyers and see what they can do. But I feel like Unity, this is not going to end well at all. It's just going to crash and burn. I don't see how we're going to straighten out the ship here on this one. You've already burned so many bridges with developers, and I don't see how this is going to work out for the better. But let me know down in the comments what you think of this situation. Do you think Unity is going to reverse all actions? Do you think they're going to stay on course? I would love to read all of those comments down below. And if you did like this video, feel free to give it a like. I make gaming content, anime content here on this channel, so if you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you for the next video. Thank you for watching.